See, that's the thing. Sometimes I think you make up bits of the story as though they were fact. That doesn't seem right.
Well, that's all you can do, innit? So that's Educating Ricky. Will we
Brilliant.
do that next week?
That is brilliant.
No, I think that was good. I did. I mean, I enjoyed that. I learned something from that.
I mean, well, I want to get I mean, this is all from one book, is it?
Yeah.
That's an interesting book.
With the, I don't want to dwell on it, but with the hairy Chinese kid, what did they say about that? What was the, I mean, was it, once there was born a kid who was slightly more hairy than everyone else, but yeah, it's alright, he only had a boil. How did they word it? How did this capture your imagination?
There was
Well, it was a picture that grabbed me, first of all.
Yeah. Sure.
And it was like, God, what's up with him? And that's when I read it.
Did you see the boil and the eczema or just the hair?
No, you see, because his face is like, just under his eyes is sort of nice and smooth, and his nose is sticking out, and that's not hairy. But the rest of him, it looked like he had the sort of a balaclava on or something. And then I read on, and it's like, this is a hairy kid in China.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay, good. Anything else in there? Because, I mean, I like that.
We'll do more of that next week.
How is that alongside, hanging bacon, alien abduction, a hairy Chinese kid, and a little interesting fact about the derivation of a phrase?
What do you mean?
He didn't understand a word of that.
So, last week we started good sort of play on words that we had going.
Go on.
The well-known film Educating Rita.
Yeah. That's become, thanks to Karl Pilkington's brain, it's become...
I've tweaked it a bit, and now it's Educating Ricky.
Brilliant.
Right? And that was a new feature we started last week, if you weren't listening, where I teach Ricky stuff.
What did you teach me?
Taught you about that little Chinese hairy kid.
Yeah, you didn't teach me anything. You said there was a kid that was born that was slightly hairy than other Chinese people.
Where the saying "chewing the fat" came from.
I enjoyed
that was good. That was interesting.
Good.
And a man who had a beard because he was being abducted 3 days. Again, that was rubbish.
Lest we forget.
That taught me more about you than about alien abduction.
But what happened last week is,
go on.
We sort of talked about it all in one go. And you can't...
Whereas this week you've done what? You've spread it out over the show.
Well, I've spread it across the 2 hours, because I always found that if you try to be taught too much in one go, you just can't take it in and it'll be wasted.
Is that your experience of school?
Yeah.
They taught you in 3-minute bursts.
Yeah, and not every day.
Yeah.
Every other
when
month.
you felt like it.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what we're gonna do, right?
So we've got Educating Ricky coming up. That's
Educating
exciting
Ricky across the 2 hours.
Okay, look forward to
and
that.
what I do is, I've made little headlines again, and you decide which story you want to go for first.
Well, give me the first headline.
No, not yet. We'll do that in a bit.
Give me a teaser.
Hang on a minute, I'm telling you what else.
Right.
So,
okay.
The way this works is...
What would you rather be, Carl?
I teach you...
Superheroes.
3 things.
A frog boy, yeah, that you could leap onto a house, but you had to go first and leap onto a house. You're this frog boy. Right, and that could be useful, couldn't it?
That's very useful, yeah.
Right, Amploid, where you've got your hands and microphones, and you can talk into your hand and your whole body. It's like 100 decibels. You can go, "Oi, come here!" And people can hear you from miles away. Amploid, right? Right? Or Sado, right? And that means that you can go up to anyone and go, alright, and they don't know why, they just get fed up for the whole day.
Which of those would you prefer? Don't answer now, have a think about it.
The frog thing, do I look like one, or...
No, you're just you and your little Ben Sherman shirt and everything, and they go, and people walk along and they go, "Oh, look at that young child on that roof, he's gonna fall, I wish Frog Boy was here," and you go, and you go down, you go, and they go, here's him! And they don't recognise you when you're squatting, they go, "I don't know who you are." And you leap up there and say, and you come back and they go, "Where's Frog Boy?" And you're standing up and you go, "Dunno, he went that way."
Yeah, I'd probably have that one.
Would you?
Go with Frog Boy?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
Okay, go on.
Right, so, did that just go out?
What?
All that.
Go on, I've got a bad...
Hey, look, Rick, Carl's really planned this show. He's really worked out. He came in early, he was writing things down.
And there's me just coming up with rubbish
and
like
you
that.
just talking rubbish. So, Carl, I know you've been thinking this through. What have you got?
So, Educating Ricky, we did it last week. It's where I teach you some stuff, but rather then just teach you something, or tease you, so you want to know more, so you want to take in information, right? So
if only people had taught you like that, Carl.
so
And also, it's the name of a film, sort of.
Yeah.
Nearly.
Coming up soon, Henry VIII and his, well, how many wives? Come back tomorrow, Carl, to find out.
right. Well, the little headlines I've got to sort of tease you with the story.
Yeah, this is gonna hurt me, and I'm not very well. Go on.
Right, we've got
So this is what, sorry, I've just got lost for a minute there.
It's Educating Ricky.
This is Educating Ricky,
Yeah.
and these are the stories that these are the things you're gonna tell him.
yeah.
But these are just headline versions.
These are headlines
This is not
because
the actual fact.
then I think people will remember things.
Okay,
if
alright, so you,
do know what I mean?
sort of bullet points.
Who can forget hairy Chinese boy?
Indeed, I shall never forget that.
Yeah.
So, first headline,
Ooh.
don't do that to it, you know it can't live without an head.
I've got no idea. It could be about the French Revolution, it could be about anything.
I know what it is!
No, you think you do, but...
No, it's something I taught you! Is it the fact that cockroaches can live for 9 days without a head?
That's part of it, but it's something different as well, that's why I thought I'd bring it up.
Okay, brilliant. So that's something to
Next one, you won't work it out. If only it was raining.
Brilliant.
Okay.
Go on.
And the last one, what's tomato with you?
What's tomato with you?
Yeah.
Look how pleased he is.
You're obsessed with puns, aren't you, at the moment, Kay?
It just works, I think it works.
Yeah. We love puns.
So, there you go.
So which of those are you going to choose, right?
Oh, well, I'm gonna have to choose. Don't do that, you know it can't live without an head. Carl, what's the story then?
Right, so what did you say you're going for? You've got your 3 titles, your 3 teasers.
Well, I think I'm gonna go for don't do that to it, you know it can't live without an head.
I'm looking forward to this.
Right.
Right.
So this is Educating Ricky, for those that have just tuned in.
Now, something that Ricky told me about when he was educating me was that a cockroach, if you cut its head off, it lives for a week,
Yeah.
right?
And the
And
only
what
reason it dies is 'cause it can't take on water.
Sure. It doesn't have a great time in that week, though, does it?
No.
I mean, it doesn't get much done, I don't imagine.
It just needs water, and because it can't find any, like its eyes, it eventually dies, right?
No.
So what?
No, it's not, that's not, it's 'cause
Anyway.
it can't drink.
Anyway.
So have you heard that one about worms?
Okay.
I have, go on.
If you cut a worm in half,
Yeah.
a lot of people have said in the past that it'll turn into 2 worms.
Right.
But that isn't actually true.
Okay. Who said that?
No, it used to be like, you know,
Kids at school
they said it on, kids at school and stuff.
Yeah.
So that, you know, a lot of people think that.
Don't pick him up on stuff, Steve, it's bad enough.
Sure.
So, but what they can do, if you get a worm, right, and you find out which end its head's at,
Right.
if you you've got its head there at the left-hand side, right, and if you sort of cut it in half,
Right.
but not in half, so there's more of its neck than the tail, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bit that you've cut off will sort of die, and the rest of the worm will get better. So in a way, you can cut it in half, and it'll survive, but only one half will survive.
Okay.
Yeah? What have you learnt
I
there?
wish you hadn't chosen that one. Rick, to be honest.
I know, because it's nothing, is it?
Yeah.
You know that
No
joke,
one
you know that
information.
joke, how would you tell a worm's head from its eye? You put it in a bowl of flour and wait till it farts.
Yes.
Right? I told my mate that, right, and he went, what if it coughs?
Yeah?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
So, there is a bit of truth in that myth of cutting one in half.
Where did you get this information? I don't understand where you get this
That
information
was from the Fortean Times. It was like the myth about worms.
Yeah.
That was the big article that week.
Did it take you as long to read that article as it took you to tell us just then?
I like the fact that it starts off debunking a myth
Yeah.
that we hadn't heard of anyway.
Exactly.
You know the big thing about cutting a worm in half and making 2 worms?
No.
Yeah. What's the other one? What's the other
It's not
headline?
the thing to do either, by the way. Don't go doing it.
No. It's not very nice. It's cruel.
But it can get by
and
if
it's
you do.
pointless.
Yeah,
There's no scientific worth
yeah.
in that.
Well, there you go.
Okay then.
Longview, further. That's great, that.
It's a good tune.
On
I'll just give a
XFM.
big shout out, Rick.
Go on.
To, John Kay. He's listening online in Los Angeles, City of Angels.
Brilliant.
It's his first time listening to the show. Who knows what he's making of it? I wonder if we should explain what Carl is to him.
He's up early.
Well, he's got up apparently to record it, and then he's gone back to bed.
Oh, right. So he's going to do it any time. So, oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Carl,
Can you explain what he is?
Well, he's a little bit of a grumpy, spoiled, lazy prat at the moment.
Oh, I think that's
but
fantastic.
usually he's quite a funny, nice, sort of genuine guy who's in awe of the world if it's furry and doesn't really care if it isn't. But,
anyway, we're all one big happy family.
come on, Carl, attitude up. Happy. Happy. If we're happy, the listener is happy.
We were talking about schools swearing kids at school. I just remember at school, loads of my friends now are becoming teachers.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine what it must be like in an environment with kids. Because when we were at school, I mean, not particularly me, but lots of people in the class, and you'd all end up doing it, would just treat teachers like they weren't humans, like they were just creatures from another planet that were there to be tormented.
Because, it's a game, isn't it, to see how far you can wind someone up to distraction.
But
and most people grow out of that.
But is it because not everyone, but especially if they've got a bit of cash in their pocket now and a little bit of success, they tend to think that gives them license to treat people badly. It's terrible. But I remember there was a guy. This is such a terrible story. There was a teacher. He came in, and he was teaching us. And one kid, one of the hard nuts, he'd found out that this he lived on his own, and he had a cat, and the cat got run over. And so we got in early, like everyone was in early, and before the teacher came in, and this kid drew a picture of a cat being run over by a car in chalk on the blackboard, a huge picture of it. And the teacher just came in, saw it, burst into tears, and ran out. And the thing is, that was like the beginning of term, so he could never get us back after that. There was never going to be any respect for him. It was just...
I know, yeah.
It's just like, I just remember now, thinking about it, I mean, at the time I remember thinking it was bad, but now it's just heartbreaking, it's devastating.
I know.
It's just
They just forget, they let their guard down a little bit.
Did you ever do the one where you just humming?
Yeah. And
he'd tell us to stop it, and then everyone would just go...
We used to, there was one teacher, me and my mate used to go up to and just, when we saw the other one, just sort of sniff him slightly, and then sort of like, so he goes, what? I go, nothing. And he'd walk away sniffing his armpit.
But those kind of mind games, it's like...
I know. Once, right, I was talking about this in the week, actually, we had this, teacher, and he must have been sort of 60 then, right? And we're all about sort of like 12. We had to do French. You had to put your thing on the booth, and it was I told you something. Le chat est the, you know, and all that, right? And
What does that mean?
Cats on the wall, right? And he'd repeat it in French, and of course everyone was going F. See, just for fun, and he heard this, and he listened back to all of them, and he realised it goes, and he went mental. He went, I don't believe this. Do you know how much these cost? He was going mad, and he was going red and bursting like Carl was earlier, and it was like, I can't stand this anymore. And he picked up an exercise book. He said, "Look at this exercise book. Look." And I won't say the kid's name. He went, so and so. Look. Oh look. He's put. And I'll change his name, Smithers. He went, oh look, he's put Smithers his shit. He goes, he's got Clever on this side. He's put Smithers as a lump of shit. That's good, right? And he went berserk. He went, oh look, he's drawn a picture of a penis with wings, and he's written underneath Dicky Bird. He went, is that clever? He went, do you want me to put a piece of paper up so you can come and write swear words and draw ladies' genitals all day? And I went, like that laughed. He went, I'm glad you think it's funny, Mr. Gervais! And he stormed out.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
And did he ever come back?
No, but we put the bit of paper up for him and said, look what we've done, you sir. That's a fanny.
Yeah.
There's some knobs. Yeah.
Was it biology?
No, it was French.
Oh, French, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I just remember things like games like, there was some cupboards at the back of I think the maths class, and one kid just got in the cupboard before the teacher came, and then sat in there for like, 45 minutes, and just towards the end of the thing just came out.
Brilliant.
Just came out and just went, and sat down. And just things like that, which just kind of, it's not, I don't know what it is, or I don't know what, it's just an utter lack of respect.
I played a trick like that once in my first year at college. This is pathetic, right? We're on a hall of residence, right? And there was this woman, sort of middle-aged woman come around in a twin set, and I think she was from a bank where she was doing students going to do a bank account, and we knew she was coming up the corridor and she was not right, and so my mate got in my wardrobe in this little room right? Just sat there. She came and I said, have you banged? I said, yeah, I banged. I said, okay, can I just do it? And there was a knock on the wardrobe. I went, come in. And he just came out and I went, all right. And he left, right? And she just looked at me and I started laughing. I went, sorry. She went, you're not interested? I went, no. But it just fell flat. It fell flat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh dear. Oh dear. Carl, a little bit happier now?
Yeah, I'm happy.
What have you done this week?
Doesn't bother me that.
No, what have you done this week?
Doesn't bother me
No,
that.
Carl, answer the question to the producer. What have you done this week?
A few things.
Oh, it's funny, right? Because when he's moaning about, I was telling him about, I'd caught him out. He says he doesn't get a lunch break. He had over an hour, and then he went. I think he went quite early that night to get a hob that hadn't been delivered or something. So, and I said to, was it James Hyman? Was it? Wasn't he?
Yeah, that's right.
And I said, James, he's always complaining about working. Does he work hard? And he went, well, he doesn't work as hard as he used to. Play a record, Carl. Yeah.
Interesting.
Don't want to really hit the start button now. I might do it in a bit lazy.
I'm not saying you're lazy. I'm saying, you know, maybe some people don't think you work as hard as you do. That's the way of the world. I'm not saying you don't work hard. Just reporting speech, really, on James Hyman. Calling him a liar. Play a record.
Can't be bothered.
Play a record, Carl.
I reckon we could do this all the way through, Billy Bragg.
Play a record. No, let's not ruin it. It's not Billy Bragg's fault.
No,
Carl's
not
in a bad
fair.
mood.
He's written some good tunes, old Billy Bragg. That's
Yes.
one of them.
Yeah.
Waiting for the great leap forward.
What station are we on?
XFM 104.9.
Yeah, with Karl Pilkington. Carl, what do you think of it so far?
What of what? This today?
You weren't up for it, weren't it? And now it's turned out great, and you're a little bit happier?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Good. Just talking earlier about teachers, weren't they? Have you got any amusing anecdotes about teachers or anything around that subject?
I didn't go to school that much.
Go on.
When I did, it was. I was telling Suzanne about it the other day how you know she goes out with me now and she thinks I'm great. She's lucky what she's got. And stuff. No, she's done well.
Yeah.
Right? But I was the sort of kid who she would have hated at school because I never had like a pen.
Oh, yeah, I know what sort you are. Never a pencil case or any stuff.
I'd start off the term I would. I'd have like, a brand new carrier bag with my stuff in.
Brand new carrier bag, classy.
And
well, you've got to have somewhere to put the stuff you've nicked from Woolworths in, haven't you?
right, so that'd be there. But then by the time like a couple of weeks down, I'd put my pen down, I would have lost it, and then I'm sort of going around saying, "Can I borrow a pen?"
You didn't try sticking it up your nose. It's not still lodged up there.
It's not. No. But the funny thing with like you were talking about teachers and stuff.
Were you disruptive? Were you a disruptive kid? Were you
Not
the sort of
really.
causing trouble?
No, not really. I was
No,
one
he
of
wouldn't
them.
cause trouble. He's terrified of the boss here, isn't he?
No, it's not that. It's just that. What's the point in winding people up? I find it quite annoying if people do that. So I don't wish it up on anyone else.
Why do you wind Steve up then?
I don't
sometime?
wind him up.
You
I don't
do.
wind
You
him
have
up.
done, but no, come on, let's not argue. We're getting on well then. Come on, Carl.
And like the teachers, because I'd lived on this estate, right? Loads of stuff used to get nicked and go missing and what have you.
Blackboards,
And
desks.
their way, no, like the telly and the video,
headmaster.
and stuff like that, and the projector thing and all that. So the way they used to try and find it, right? My little conspiracy, 'cause you know I'm good at them.
Yeah, yeah.
What they used to do is set your own work and say, right, draw like a bird's eye view of your house. Right? But draw everything you've got in your house in it as well. So if you've got, I don't know, if you've got anything in the loft, make sure you draw it.
Right. So kids would come in with overhead projectors.
Well, that was the idea,
Chalk.
I think, behind
Guns.
Yeah.
it. They got loads of those.
Anti-aircraft guns in the shed.
So the picture you did for your home, presumably
Got nothing from me.
nothing.
I didn't do it.
I'm not. He used to hand it in empty house. I'm not a grass.
yeah.
Nor the illegal immigrants living in the
Just a
kitchen.
picture of your Auntie Nora.
Yeah. What's that? Is that? Have you
Is that a
been
tennis ball?
stealing tennis balls?
Yeah.
No, that's not a split tennis ball. That's my
But what
auntie
about all
Nora's.
the? But what about all the stuff? What, didn't you have to draw all the stuff that your father had nicked?
Carl, have you ever seen the programme Inside the Actors Studio?
No.
James Lipton interviews famous actors and gets words of advice about, how they work and how they act. But at the end, he always asks a series of questions, which is based on a French series of questions that a guy called Bernard Pivot used to give people when he interviewed them. So I'm going to ask you some of these questions. Just interesting to see what your response is. And, answer them quickly. You don't have to think about them too much. What is your favourite curse word?
I don't think I've got one. Knobhead. That sums everything up, and I think it's...
But you wouldn't call your nan a knobhead, would you? What would you call a nan?
Well, knobhead's alright, isn't it? Because she sort of gets it. It's one of them things that everybody understands, but it's not too offensive.
Right.
What a knobhead.
What would you do, though, if you were swimming, right? It was a nice little thing, you're on holiday, right? And there's this octopus there, and you're going around, right? And you just see it start spitting at you. Poison. What would you say to it?
Well, it's too late then, isn't it? And I'd kick it. And I'd say, knobhead. I would... but what's the point? What's the point in getting annoyed now? Because it's done its stuff, hasn't it?
I don't know why you'd kick it and call it a knobhead under the water. What is this octopus thinking? Oh, God. Oh, I'd go, you fucking eight-legged shit.
I'm not bothered. I don't know what you're saying.
Fucking cunt of a mollusk.
I'll just spit at you again. It's not bothered.
You slimy little fucking boneless wanker.
This is why the face
Are you
is
still
good.
talking to the octopus?
Oh, I don't believe it. He's only going to run it down the...
That jingle, of course, signifies another reading from Karl Pilkington's diary. We went to the park and had a brew. Suzanne read the paper while I played with a ladybird. I mean, it's like a child, isn't it? It's like what a child would do.
Suzanne read the paper while I played with the ladybird. Oh, his only friend is a beetle.
It climbed up my arm. It struggled on me hairs.
This is in detail, then.
Yeah. It kept stopping every now and then and was rubbing its head with its right arm. It did it about 4 times and always used its right arm. It rested for about 5 minutes, then flew off. Sunday. Had a bit of a to-do with Suzanne because she wanted a lion today. I ate this. Once you're awake, you should get up. I got up and put the radio on really loud. She eventually got up. I told her insects don't have lions, so we shouldn't.
Why are you obsessed with insects?
You must be fucking unbearable to live with. You must be a nightmare.
No, I've just started, because I've watched insects a lot. I don't want to keep going on about them because we're a bit insect heavy. But at the end of the day, if we copied insects, we wouldn't go far wrong.
I don't know what you mean, though. 1 minute you're saying they're great, then the next minute you'll slag them off.
Yeah, I'll slag some of them off if I don't know what they're doing, but because I've studied them a bit longer, I just think they do.
You
it
haven't
right.
studied them, though.
He thinks he's like Darwin.
But you just slagged them off when you go, don't you think people that insects are doing stuff? They're not. It goes there, then it goes back again.
The ant was messing about, but only that one. The others were carrying stuff. That's what I'm saying. These snidey ones in everything. In everything in the world, you get a hierarchy.
Oh, long words!
Ooh. Some new sea thing has been found.
That's the headlines on the news.
It wasn't found by sea experts, it was found on eBay. Someone was selling it for a £5. I don't see the point in buying something that you don't know what it is.
What do you mean? What do you mean? It was...
Someone's found some sort of shell with a thing living in it.
Right.
They thought, oh, I've never seen one of these before, I can flog it on eBay. Someone bought it and then wanted to look after it, went to some sea expert and they said, oh, I don't know what that is. That's the story. It's just weird how stuff's being found on eBay.
No, it wasn't found on eBay, though, was it?
Yeah, but that's where the specialist people sort of picked up on it. It's just weird that... I mean, all I was saying is I wouldn't want one. If you don't know how to... If it's a new creature, you don't know what makes it happy. When you get a kitten, you go, stroke its head, loves it, right? And you can do that knowing that it's liking it. If I had a little seashell and you go, does it sit in water? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? You could end up doing more damage. So that's why I wouldn't want it. It's nice to have rules, isn't it? It's nice to know what you're doing with something.
Well, as you write in the diary, it's like if an alien landed and wanted to live with you. As much fun as it might sound, it wouldn't be long before you got annoyed with it because it wouldn't eat the food you gave it.
That's what I'm saying, but I couldn't have a go at it because it might not like pasta.
It might not.
Everyone likes pasta.
Wow.
Woke up to some interesting news. It's good when this happens because it sets me up for the day ahead. If it's miserable news, it affects my day. It said on the news that they have found 2 new flies.
Fucking hell, more for insects. What have you done? Is that all you've done this summer?
Bong. Trouble in the Middle East. Bong. 2 new flies found.
Ladybird climbs up arm.
They were found in the UK and they were found close to each other. Maybe this happened because they were different than the other flies and weren't expected to hang about together, so that's why they knocked about with each other.
That would happen, wouldn't it?
What do you mean?
There's 2 new flies.
What do you mean? Does it mean there are 2 new flies that are a different species?
Yeah, 2 new species, and they found them close to each other, right?
Yeah,
and
but they didn't mean there was one of each.
No. Yeah, they did. They found 2 different ones.
No.
No, they have. Seriously, I know that. That's right. That's a fact. So you've got, like, I don't know the names of them. They give them odd names, don't they? Well, say
Yeah.
call it A and Fly B, right?
Yeah.
Fly A, I don't know. Say that's orange.
This is just...
B.
Fly B, yeah.
No,
This is
but,
painful,
No, but
this
I'm
is
just making it
painful.
easier
But Fly
for
B
you.
wears a
Okay.
little hat. He's got a little hat.
Alright, yeah, fine. Now, they found the orange one. I went, look at this over here. This is a bit weird. And they've gone, oh, that's a new species. Log it, whatever. And then the other one went, oh, keep your pen handy. Look at this one, it's got a hat on. So then they found them both within the same distance.
I don't know what that sentence means.
Keep going.
They
No,
found
let him
them
try and
both.
finish.
They found them both within the same distance.
But without interrupting him, let him finish this point.
Let me just make one thing clear. Carl Pilkington just said they found them both within the same distance. Think of that!
Don't know what it means, but go on, let him finish this point.
So what I mean is, they weren't knocking about with other normal houseflies because they were probably sort of going, oh, he's a bit weird. Leave it. Yet, because the other one was also odd, they're hanging about with each other. Don't you understand that? Why is that such an odd concept?
Because you think of it as like 2 little new kids in school.
Yeah.
They find out they're both new and they've got something in
Yeah,
common.
they're both goths, so they start hanging out together.
Yeah.
And this was on the news, was it?
Yeah, just on the radio, yeah.
I know if I looked into that story, it would be 90% wrong.
Bit tired today because didn't get to sleep as early as I'd wanted due to a moth getting in the bedroom.
Fuck me.
I got it in a glass and looked at it for a bit and then let it go because Suzanne wanted to go to sleep. Looked up some interesting news. Some people dug up an old body in Ireland. Turns out it's well old and was here when dinosaurs were here. The really weird bit is it had hair gel in its hair.
Right, what is it?
Fella,
Well, no, it wasn't around when dinosaurs were here then.
just a bit after.
Right, fine. A lot after, yeah, go on.
It's not the age bit, that's amazing. It's the fact of, there's a fella, won't have even had shoes on his feet,
Right.
and yet he was worried about his hairstyle.
Right, well, that's definitely not true either.
There was a man on the radio doing poetry, says Carl in his diary. I thought I'd have a go at doing a poem about today.
Not really. Steve, I'm a little bit queasy. He hasn't really written a poem.
He's written a small poem.
No, he hasn't really.
Yes. If moths had eyes...
Fuck me!
Let me read the poem, okay?
Oh, fuck.
You wouldn't interrupt T.S. Eliot.
Okay. Oh, okay.
If moths had eyes, would they be happier? How do they know they're not dead? Cavemen hunting for food, but not before they style the hair on their head. What would last longer in dinosaur times? A blind man didn't stand a chance. Not with all them rocks about. I'd rather be a blind moth.
Right. It may be the greatest poem ever written.
Is there a creative decision for that?
Can we have Carl read that?
By all
Sorry,
means, yeah.
just you read it as you would like to. So this is imagine this, right? Okay, this is going out all over the world. And now, Carl Pilkington, a new poet from Manchester, now living in London, England, would like to read a poem.
If moths had eyes, would they be happier? How do they know they're not dead? Cavemen hunting for food, but not before they style the hair on their head. What would last longer in dinosaur times? A blind man didn't stand a chance. Not with all them rocks about. I'd rather be a blind moth.
He said it as though the last bit was going to rhyme. He said it like it was going to rhyme. Oh God!
No,
I
but-
think,
It's amazing, it's amazing.
But I think he feels as though the final line, "I'd rather be a blind moth," is going to be one of those great, you know, a summation that somehow the moth is a metaphor. The caveman.
No, but
there's
all
no
I'm doing-
metaphor in that. He really does mean he'd rather be a blind moth.
Yeah, well, I'm just because I've looked at the day's news.
Are you getting into poetry now, properly?
I really like it, yeah. Right, I did 2 about jellyfish.
Excellent.
I don't like jellyfish. They're not a fish, they're just a blob. They don't have eyes, fins or scales like a cod. They float about blind, stinging people in the seas. And no one eats jellyfish with chips and mushy peas. Get rid of them. And then there's just a short one I did about a jellyfish. It would be spiteful to put jellyfish in a trifle.
Yeah, it certainly would.
So,
That's great. That's really good. Because it's jelly. He's done us there, Steve.
Yeah.
That's a really good poem. Can we always do that, Carl? Can we always find a day, right, and always sum it up in your
in a
thoughts, a
poem.
poem, just like that? It would be spiteful to put jellyfish in a trifle.
yeah.